Zero Cool here, back again with another video, and there are some sleeper characters out there that you should probably try to just, I don't know, build up, because you might end up using them somewhere. They're probably not going to be used all the time, but there's always characters where you're just like, damn, I needed some help here, and these are the ones I'm going to go ahead and use for it, but you don't really pay attention to them sometimes. But you can have them on the back burner just in case you need them for a specific problem, which is usually either war or Crucible. Maybe not so the raids, because those are specific, but war and Crucible seem to be the big point here. Probably more Crucible, because depending on the enemy, you got to go ahead and bring in something that just knock them out. So I guess the first one we could talk about, Ares, man. Ares is not fast, but not slow either. He could take quite a few hits, but he is a banger when it comes to his abilities, though. His abilities are ridiculous. This part here, right there, boom. So he does give you drain. He does ability block there. He hits primary and adjacent targets pretty hard, and he does go ahead and have some very, very good fun on that attack. I think the special is a little bit better than it, just because of the stun and the disrupted, which is fine. War, he gives out trauma, but hey, either one, not bad, not bad, not bad. So I mean, this one I do enjoy, basically for clearing all the barriers. So clear all the barrier off, and it's a smaller cooldown too. So, you know, 3 turns, boom, you're going to be doing it again. So not a bad set of moves there. Most of his stuff is tied to war, which is just a little blah, but I mean, it's just, man, I do enjoy what he does, especially for the war part. I mean, the only big thing, he is going to gain safeguard, but then in war, he's not going to. He's going to do some other stuff there. So it's like, okay. But most of his stuff is tied to war, but you could still use him effectively in Crucible. So I think that'll be the big one. Next one on my list. Now, the only reason I'm picking him for the moment is because he's going to be, you know, on the new Vigilante team, especially for raids. And he's just been sitting on the back burner forever. So, but Punisher's kit, it can be, I don't know if you could say, just it's a doozy in terms of his ult. He's got 4 more Vigilante allies. He clear barrier. He's attacking the primary target for 250 piercing, and then he's attacking everybody for 250 piercing. So that's basically a double hit on the primary target. But that is a lot of piercing damage, and he has a lot of damage already. And he's not even G19 yet, so he's at 458. I wonder how much it's going to be. But the big one here that gets me, though, there's two little beautiful things here that happen. So if he's got 4 more Vigilante allies, attack that enemy for 125%. When a Vigilante Defender ally uses their special, attack the most injured enemy for 125%. On hit, apply vulnerable. So he's gonna be doing vulnerables all over the place. You might as well just make him Raider. Boom. But the big one here is this character's attack deals an additional 50% damage to villain enemies. So any of those villains that you see around, either in Crucible or War, go ahead and get an extra 50% damage. It's basically like having offense up against villains. However, if you have offense up as well, you're already pushing it even more. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 there against villains. Hey, just go ahead and just get the offense up, and then just shoot them and just see what happens. But his special is pretty damn good itself too. So he just attacks the primary targets here. If you do the passive, you're transferring 3 positive effects from the primary target to self and all Vigilante and military allies. And then his basic is just piercing again to chaining around, and then some more damage there. But Punisher is not to be messed with. So I'm gonna basically take him up further than he already was, and see how much damage he does either in Crucible or War. We used to make fun of Scarlet Witch all the time because we were just like, oh my god, Scopely just did her dirty. They didn't give her any type of, any type of kit that could, she is one of the biggest characters. She's one of the strongest characters in the comics, and they kind of relegated it to she's here, she's there. Especially on the Darkhold team, she's basically the one you take off and just say screw it. But they gave her a little bit more of a rework, and you're just like, whoa, okay. She's a little pain. Her retaliates are ridiculously strong, And it doesn't seem like it, because like when you hear about it, oh, they attacked Quicksilver Vision, oh, attack that person for 250 damage, but it's like she's hitting really freaking hard. Like, what is wrong with you? Oh wait, she's at 760 already at G19. I'd hate to see what happens when she's there. But here, right here, she's attacking all enemies turn 1 for 150% piercing, plus applying defense down, which means that they're gonna just even hit harder. In war, she starts reducing, the duration of defense up on each enemy by 2. But that's fine. That's cool. But her special, boom, she's healing herself, and one random visit for 100% of this character's max health, and she redistributes the total squad health evenly. And then applies deflect and defense up, which gives them more sustain. So that's going to be a beautiful one in the field. She hits hard as hell, which is why that defense with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver is really nice and Crucible, because another Scarlet Witch comes down and they're just retaliating against you twice. And if you got other characters that do retaliates, like Omega Sentinel, Invisible Woman and stuff, so everybody's just hitting somebody, and you just see just automatic retaliates right out the gate, and it's a really good chunk of you're gonna get hit and it's gonna hurt. Another one where you do use her on Night Stalkers, but you kind of leave her alone, which is fine. Just keep her with Night Stalkers most of the time. But if you needed somebody that's just going to come in and nuke some people, Agatha is probably the one to do it. She's a little slower, but she has enough sustain and can withstand a ton of damage. But she goes ahead and she knocks out her ultimate, which is ridiculous. 150% piercing, then she hits you 2 more times for it. Then she stuns the hero Mystic Blaster, which these were meant for the Eternals, so they're very specific without just saying the Eternals. They could have just said that. But she also heals all allies for 35% and barrier any Darkhold or Night Stalker one. And then she gains 2 ability energy for each Mystic enemy, up to a maximum of 6 ability energy. So she's refueling herself if there's Mystics, but she's also nuking them. She's making sure she gets enough barrier, and then boom, she gets some more stuff on there, and she gets extra focus for each Mystic enemy. So I would be really, really weary about taking her anywhere off of Night Stalker's Darkhold, but I've seen some combinations where she's been out there, and you just forget about her for a sec, and then boom, she snaps off, and you're like, oh my god, why did this happen? Her special is a four turn buddy there, but she does apply slow, and if they have slow, they're getting stunned. If they're stunned already, she's bonus attacking again. So there's all these little triggers that'll happen, but they are worth it though. But she is a powerhouse in terms of damage. She will just come out of nowhere, sneak up, and be like, poof, gone. Last but not really least, I would have to say Miss Marvel Classic is I just knowing about Absolute, Ass Force or whatever you want to call them. You're just like, oh, they're great in war, cool, stick them over there. They're not really going to do much. They're not going to do so much outside of war. Just leave them at that part. But she is a brick wall with a solid steel wall behind it, plus 2 beams reinforcing it so something can't crash through. She gets so much healing when she's attacked and then gets the charge. It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. But that's kind of what you want. You want a brick wall that's definitely a brick wall. That used to be Captain Sam, even with the rework. You're like, Jesus, this guy won't die. Like, how come he's just going? And the same thing for her. As long as, when she's attacked, she got charged, she's going to heal herself and then flip 2 bleeds to clear 2 negative effects. So once she gets to that part, she's gonna wreck you. And her abilities aren't really what you're really looking for to do. They do a little bit of damage here, and they she heals up the other A-Force members. But her primary thing is her passive. She does got some drain and she heals all over the place, but her passive, where she goes and she can take a hit and then boom, she's out there. Oof, brick wall, you're not getting through. It's essentially what's going to happen. But I would say use Miss Marvel Classic, because it's ridiculous how strong she is, and her health is pretty high, and so is her armor. So she's sticking around. So once you get tired of her, of going through it, you're just like, screw it, I just want the match to end. I'm just done. Let the match end. But Miss Marvel Classic is definitely one to look out for, especially in Crucible. She's going to be a really big brick wall, probably in Glass Cannon, because it takes a second to get away from her, even if you send her in there as a fortifier. But I don't know. The 5 sleepers I got here, you guys are... I would love to get your opinions on them. They are basically just... They're there when you need them. You don't really use them too often, but they are going to prove to be an advantage once they are on the team. And I would say Punisher is probably he's going to be the big one that we're going to try out, see how it works out here in reality, and see if I could use them during Crucible this week. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to keep building them. That way you can get to level 105 and G19 and be ready for City, because Professor X wants to have City. But like, share, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you guys think of them. I think they're excellent choices for plug and plays around there, because there's really no disadvantage to putting them somewhere. Maybe Agatha will probably be the one, but everybody else you could just throw around if you need something, and they might prove to be, give you that turn efficiency, which is what we're looking for in Crucible. But like, share, subscribe. Let me know what we're doing wrong, and DKG rolling out.